To answer very shortly is we have to stick together, because we are strong when we are united and when we are together. So this is what we have to do, and then we can, manage these challenges.
It's okay, we can hear you. And are we together? Because sometimes I hear lots of different voices, especially on trade, how we should respond. Sometimes on defense spending. On Ukraine, there's more divergence. Do you still feel like there is that unity?
Well, it has always been hard, because we are 27 democracies, and 27 democracies have 27 different domestic political situations and sensitivities as well. But we have managed. We have managed so far, and I think, we have to keep in mind all the time that why our adversaries don't like the European Union, or even our allies now don't like the European Union. It is because, when we are together, we are equal powers. And, it's harder to deal with equal powers than to deal with countries that are much smaller than you are. And it's also easier to play one against the other. So, that's what we have to keep in mind, that is actually our strength. And I think, I've seen now, having run the Foreign Affairs Councils that we have every single month, to come to results, come to decisions. It's extremely hard, but we are managing in the end.
I appreciate not everyone likes being asked about their predecessor, but your predecessor famously and repeatedly kept saying, Europe has woken up, but we're not yet out of bed. Do you think that was in reference to Russia? With Trump, are we now out of bed?
We are out of bed. We are getting along with our day. I think, if we think about different, defense initiatives that we have, different initiatives to bring more funding to defense, but also the understanding regarding Russia, then we are there and really getting along with our day.
I appreciate this is a member state question, but perhaps you could talk a little bit about what you understand. Trump's called for 5% defense spending. We know that NATO wanted to have this wrapped up long in advance of The Hague. There's still not an announcement that all 32 are on board. Does that worry you that we're still not there yet on getting that deal?
No, it is always like this. We have had NATO summits where we're literally drafting around the leaders' table certain things. So I think this time the focus is very much on one thing and one thing only, because to take those things so everybody agrees. So this is the 3% or 5% target, to have everybody on board, to also show that our tie with the America, our tie or transatlantic tie is stronger when we are stronger. Europe is stronger. And I think everybody has realized that. We have seen decisions from Spain, for example, to really come to this 2% already this year, although the promise was made in 2014 to reach that goal in 2024, but it's better late than never. So I think the understanding is there, but the understanding also has to be, not that, okay, we agree this number and then we try to think, what we could, put under this number. The number is not the issue. The capabilities are, the capability gaps that we have. And that's why we in European Union are trying to work together very closely with NATO so that every member state has their capability targets. Where can the defense industry come in? How can we share the targets so that the defense industry, who has been long saying that, we need predictability, we need to know the long-term plan, also get the data so that they can prepare. Because so far it has been so that the defense industry says that show me the money and I will produce you the tanks or whatever you need, Whereas, I mean, when the money is there, they are not able to produce, and the procurement times are super long. So we try really hard to work with NATO to complement each other.
You're right that it's not just about money, it's about capabilities, but isn't it a chicken and egg scenario here? We need to hear from the Americans what they want to step back from so we can step in and make sure there's no gaps. Is that conversation happening?
No, the Americans have said that they will remain with Europe, and we have to, we are taking this into account. I mean, not saying, or it's independent what the Americans are doing, but also making Europe stronger. Because if Europe is stronger, our ties and relationship with the United States is also stronger. And I think it works both ways.
You're right that the NATO summit will be about one thing and one thing only. That'll, of course, will come at the expense of Ukraine, which in the last 2 years was the one thing and one thing only. I appreciate we don't know what's going on in Donald Trump's head, but do you personally feel like Ukraine is in a better situation now than perhaps it was back in January? Or worse?
Well, I think that Ukraine is in a difficult position, of course, when we look at the battleground, but it's actually a better position than many would like to show and think. Like the Russians would like to, make us all think that we have all the time in the world. I mean, the Russians have all the time in the world. They can, keep this war forever, which is not true, which is not simply true. Especially, I mean, now when we have put, new sanctions in place. The last package was very much criticized by the media, saying that it's not strong enough. But when I learned that actually because of the oil exports via the Black Sea and Baltic Sea, because of the sanctions targeting the shadow fleet, the oil exports via Black Sea and Baltic Sea decreased by 30% in 1 week. So showing that it actually has an impact, and what the intelligence tells is that now the sanctions will hit more the supply chains of Russia needed to really fund this war. On the 18th package, we also have the banking, transaction ban and much stronger steps. Of course, the question might be, why haven't you done these, earlier? And that is always the question I also have, being, staunch supporter of stronger sanctions from the beginning. But I think it is important that, again, we are 27 democracies and that we come to this point all together.
You're right that the 18th package is impressive, but surely it all depends on what Donald Trump says and does on Sunday, Monday and Tuesday in Canada. I mean, not just on the oil price cap. In general, if he comes out and says, I don't believe in more sanctions, you're not going to get 27 capitals here agreeing on them, surely.
Of course, it is important that United States also is together with us, and we have been operating together for quite some time. The oil price cap was also G7, and then European Union, what we agreed. And by the way, when we agreed that, I remember, because I was pressured really hard, that we wanted it to be lower.
I remember, yeah.
And then the final compromise was that, okay, it's going to be 5% lower than the market price, but it was never changed actually after that.
They agreed to review it, right? And then they never reviewed it.
Yes. Yeah. So actually that is the agreement that should be followed. So if it is 5% lower than the market price, then it should definitely come down from the place where it is today. It is important, of course, what we do together, but it's also equally important for us what we do alone, because we alone are also a player. If you think about the oil going through the channels, it's mostly, I mean, Europe. It's via the Baltic Sea, it's via the Black Sea. So actually, even if the Americans are not on board, we can still do it and have an impact.
You yesterday inaugurated the EU-India Strategic Dialogue. We'll be hearing from External Affairs Minister Jaishankar shortly after this conversation. There's been a lot of talk in Brussels recently that Trump has made Europe more attractive to other partners and made other partners more attractive to Brussels. Is there a real push here to replace elements of the EU-US relationship with other friends? How far can that go?
Well, one can never have too many friends. No, but it's true. When I go around the world and meet people, then I really see the willingness to work with us, because we are the predictable and reliable partner. And that is our strength. Really, countries are turning to us. And I think there's a real unique opportunity window for Europe to grow our geopolitical power. Because of these new relations. Of course, it doesn't, we still value the relationship what we have with the Americans, but, it doesn't mean that we can't build other relationship. I think, we are with the Americans not growing apart, but growing up in our relationship.
With the point when we move out and go into separate
No, but we have other friends.
Okay.
We have additional friends.
The previous speaker spoke about how the Atlantic is no longer the defining kind of feature of global geopolitics. Do you sense this new global order is being reshaped? Is it going to make Europe stronger or weaker, do you think?
It depends how we act. This new order is emerging. We hear this from countries like in Central Asia or Western Balkans. There's a real push by big powers saying that the world is shifting, the world is changing, and you should be with us rather than with the old. But the old rule of international law still has its benefits. It has served us quite well, and still, countries around the world see that, international law and the principles we have agreed have their value, because most of the countries in the world are small countries. So if this international law does not apply, but applies, might makes right principle, then, we are all in danger. Especially, I hear this, in Asia, that, the agreements that they have, are they really, functioning the way they should? Because if you're looking at Europe, Ukraine also had an agreement to give up its nuclear weapons, and we will help you if something happens. So this is all creating a totally new dynamic.
We're running out of time, so I just wanted my final question would to blend those last two answers. Reading between the lines, is it right to suggest that if Europe does need to make new friends, we have to sacrifice some of these values, some of these principles, some of the red lines we've had previously, because we had the benefit of having the United States as our big brother?
I don't agree with you. I think actually this is our strength, because there are many people around the world who actually cherish these values like democracy and freedom and prosperity. So this is actually our strength, because countries and organizations, multilateral organizations, are also looking at us regarding this. So again, this is our opportunity to grow our geopolitical power.
Kaja, thank you so much for your time. Good luck in the next month, and let's hope it all goes well.
Thank you.